Hi there, in this video I'm going to talk to you about significant figures, and I've actually split the lesson into two videos so we can focus on just big numbers in this video. The second one, part 2, will focus on tiny numbers and decimals, okay? So significant figures is just another way of rounding. The intention is to be able to round very big and very small numbers to what's called a given number of significant figures, okay? Prior knowledge to this is that you should be able to already round to the nearest 10, 100 and 1,000 and also some decimal places. Now, you have done rounding to one significant figure before in maths, we just never called it that. Anytime we asked you to round a number to the nearest 10, the nearest 100, nearest 1,000, that was you rounding to one significant figure. So you already should be able to do that. Think of the word significant. Where have you heard that before? Outside of maths. The most obvious one to me is talking about your significant other, probably the most important person to you. So if something is significant, I need you to remember that that means important, okay? So significant figures. So given a number, a digit or a figure is said to be significant if it gives some sense of quantity or accuracy. Significant figures help us keep the placement or the size of numbers correct. And if we're dealing with really big numbers, 0 digits at the end of a whole number are not considered to be significant. So what I mean by that, if I gave you the number 8,000, these three numbers here are not significant, okay? This in fact has one significant figure, okay? If I gave you another number of 7,000, no, let's make it bigger, of 72,000, these three here are not significant. It's only these two that are. So this one has got two significant figures, and we're going to look at that on my next slide, okay? So zeros at the end, they aren't significant at all. They're just there to keep your place value, to keep that number 72,000 in the thousands. Okay, so before I start asking you to round, I've got there's 5 examples here. What we're going to do what I need to do is show you how many significant figures some more examples actually have. So the numbers that are significant are the non-zeros, okay? So the non-zero digits. So in this first one, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger. So on this first one, the numbers are significant, and I do it by counting dots, right? So I count the first number, the second number, the third number, the fourth number. That has got 4 significant figures. And for short, for significant figures, I'm just going to write SF, okay? On this second one, remember what we said, zeros at the end don't count. So I count the 7 and the 2. So this one has got 2 significant figures. Not counting the zeros at the end, this has got 1, 2, 3 significant figures at the front. This one here is a bit trickier though. What I didn't mention is zeros at the end don't count, but these zeros in the middle, they could be any old number. They could be a 1 or a 9 or an 8. They're trapped, so they do count. Okay, so it's only zeros at the end we don't count. So this has got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 significant figures. If that 4 was also a 0, it would only have 3. But those zeros, do you understand, could be any other old digit in there, okay? And then this end one, a little decimal one. Don't let the decimal put you off. This still has 1, 2, 3 significant figures. And in our next video, we'll talk more about decimals and what they would have at the end. But I need to show you decimals because a lot of the time you'll be doing questions further up in maths where at the end they ask you to round your answer to significant figures, and it probably will be decimals you'll be doing. Right, so let's go try actually doing some rounding. So I've got 5 examples here again. We are going to round these ones all to one significant figure. I've got a little pencil up in the corner, so if you're one of my pupils, you should be copying down these examples, okay? So let me zoom in this and make it a wee bit bigger for myself. We're doing these all to one significant figure. So one significant figure is basically like rounding to nearest 10, nearest 100, nearest 1,000 and so on. And you look at the first example, that's in the hundreds. So I'm going to round that to the nearest 100, but I'm going to do my dots again. So using my wee dot system, I go, right, 1. I put a 1 above the 8, that means I'm keeping the 8. I look at the next number, which is a 3. And in rounding a 3, you don't do anything, do you? So you technically, that goes down to nearest 100, that is 800. So to one significant figure, that is 800. My next number, 93,000. roughly. So this is going to be in the tens to the thousands column. So I'm just going to keep the 9. I'm just going to keep the first digit. So the next number is a 3 again. 3 doesn't do anything in rounding, so that stays as a 9. All these other digits, though, have to become zeros to keep the place value of that number. If I just say my answer is 9, I've gone from 90 odd thousand to 9. So the zeros keep your place value. They are not significant. Okay, next one. First number is a 3. The next number is a 2. Not significant. Sorry, not going to do anything in rounding. So that becomes a 3. 5 digits there after it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just going to put some commas in so you can see the kind of place value a bit easier. So that is 300,000 to one significant figure. And then I've gone smaller again. Back to 9,834. 9,000. So it's going to be to the nearest 1,000 really. If you round that to the nearest 1,000, 8 makes that 9 go up. So if you're at 9,000, what does that go up to? Well, the next one's 10,000. So to one significant figure, that will be 10,000. And the ones with 9s will catch some of you out because they do get a wee bit tricky. And then my last one, a decimal, I'm going to keep the first digit, which is an 8. The 2 doesn't do anything to the 8 at all, so it stays as an 8. So to one significant figure, that's basically me asking you round that to nearest whole number, which is just 8. Okay? Right, we're going to look at some more. These ones want us to round this time to 2 significant figures. So to 2 significant figures, I'm just going to stretch again. So 2 significant figures, this time I'm going to do 2 dots. I'm going to count the first 2 numbers. So 1, 2. So I'm keeping the 8 and the 3. The next number is an 8 again. Now an 8 means you go up in rounding. So that 3 will increase to a 4. So that goes to 8, 4. The 8 and the 2 have to turn into zeros to keep my place value. Alright, the next one, the first 2 digits are an 8 and a 2. The next number is a 4. 4 doesn't do anything. So it stays as an 8 and a 2. I've got 3 digits here, so 3 zeros. My next one, I'm going to keep the 4 and the 2. Will the 2 change? What do you think? Of course it will. The next number is a 6. A 6 in rounding means we go up. So that doesn't stay as 4, 2. It stays as 4, 3. There are then 4 digits there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. Okay. I'm not liking the look of the next one. There's a lot of 9s here. Okay. So potentially keeping the 3. All right. Potentially keeping this 9. So I've got a 3 and a 9 at the beginning. The next number is a 9, which means that 3 and that 9 will go up. And then that 9 will go up and make the 3 go up. An easy way to look at this is, what have I got written under my 2 dots, right? I've got the number 39. That's going to go up because of the 9 next to it. What does 39 go up to in maths? It goes up to 40 if you round it up. So that becomes 40 for the first 2 digits. And then I had 5 digits there, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So really it went up to 4 million. Now, mathematically, if you look at 4 million, you might think, oh, that's got one significant figure. She's got the wrong answer. There are certain numbers that are impossible to round to whatever you're asked for. So we might ask 2 significant figures, but because of the laws of rounding, probably 9 being involved somewhere in the number mean it rounds up. Okay, so don't let that put you off. I will try and avoid doing any like that with you, but I had to show you. And then my next one, my last one, a little decimal, so I'm going to keep the 6.7. The next number is a 9, so 6.7 will actually go up to 6.8. Okay. And the last little bit before I let you try some on your own is rounding to 3 significant figures. So 3 significant figures this time. So we're going to do the exact same method, only this time I'm going to do 3 dots for each question, okay? So, 3 dots. 1, 2, 3. So I'm keeping potentially 6, 6, 6. The next number after those is a 6. A 6 goes up in rounding, so that goes up to 6, 6, 7. One number at the end, 1 0 in the end. And notice the size of the number stays the same, 4-digit number becomes a 4-digit number. The only time that will change is if maybe your first digit was a 9. Okay, let's look at the next one. So 3 significant figure, I'm keeping 8, 3, 8. So 8, 3, the 8's going to stay in 8 because the next number's a 2. So 8, 3, 8. 4 digits there, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next one, 1, 2, 3, so I'm keeping 192. And I'm keeping the 2 because the next number's a 2, which doesn't do rounding. So it's 192, 3 digits there, so 3 zeros on the end. Okay, so the mistake we see sometimes in class is people just writing that the answer is 192. So yeah, we've got the rounding bit right, but we don't have the place value or size of the number correctly. Right, so a couple of wee decimals. So 1, 2, 3 means I'm keeping the 92.6. That 6 isn't going to change because the next number's a 1, so it's 92.6. And then right, so what I should mention in the decimals, we don't add on any zeros to keep the place value, okay? And I'll explain more in the video specifically why we don't add on any zeros. That has got 3 significant figures, okay? And the last one here, 1, 2, 3. So I'm keeping 8.23, and the next one's, the 4's not going to change that. So yeah, all my examples there was only one that really rounded up the way. Okay? So this is a point where I would encourage you to pause the video and then try these examples for yourself. So what I would do for each of these ones is round them to 1, 2 and 3 significant figures. And then once you've unpaused it, press play again and you'll see my answers on the next slide, okay? Now I don't have any of those ones that will catch you out, all right? I don't have any that don't round properly. If you just, for example, for the first one, I would just go through and write that one down to 1 significant figure. So that would be 9,000. And then I would keep the same number and say, right, let's do that to 2 significant figures. So that's possibly keeping the 8 and the 9. And then to 3 significant figures, we would be keeping the 8, the 9 and the 2. Or you could prefer to do all 1 sig fig, all 2 sig fig, all 3 sig fig. It's entirely up to you. So pause now, okay? And here are hopefully the answers. Mark them, and hopefully if you've got them all right, you've got a good enough understanding of significant figures. Thank you very much for watching.